later.
Good evening. Hi. So Sarah's here with me, and we are discussing Bach Flower Remedies this evening. Sarah is our resident expert at the LV Life Wellbeing Centre, and she's got lots of good stuff to tell you about it. And I'm excited about this because I know this much about a subject that's this big. So I'm very excited for Sarah to be able to share that with us. So hi, Sarah.
Hello.
How
Hi,
you doing?
Luke. Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah.
Good. We're sat in my house this evening, mostly because I don't have a babysitter. So Sarah came over, and we're gonna do the talk here. So if you're live with us, nice to see you. If you're watching the replay, I hope you enjoy. So let's start with Bach Flower Remedies, not Bach Flower
Not
Remedies.
Bach, no.
We were just discussing this. So tell me about
that. Dr. Edward Bach, he was a physician and bacteriologist, originally from Wales. He trained as a medical doctor, but got a bit disillusioned. He was an expert on vaccines, but he didn't like actually injecting vaccines into people, diseases. So he was looking for an alternative. This was back in the 1920s when he trained, and he discovered homeopathy, and he was delighted that it actually treated the person, not the disease. And so he went to the London College of Homeopathy and worked there in the labs for quite a number of years. And he actually discovered and isolated 7 nosodes. Now, these nosodes are preparations of the disease. He was studying intestinal floras and stuff like that in relation to diseases. And these 7 nosodes that he identified, he treated lots of different people, and he noticed that people that were like very scared about their disease responded to one specific nosode, and those who were like angry about the disease responded to the other nosode. So he started investigating that a bit further, gave up a really lucrative Harley Street practice, moved to the Oxfordshire countryside in Sotwell, and decided to devote his whole life to finding remedies, natural homeopathic remedies. And in the 1930s, I think 1936, before he died, because he died quite young, only in his 50s, he'd created 38 remedies, as you can see here in this.
Is that all 38?
That's all 38. Well, I've got one missing, actually. I haven't bought that one yet. So, yeah, all 38 remedies, and they all correspond or are attuned to all the emotional ups and downs that we have throughout our lives. So, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So that's how it all started.
Wow, actually, I didn't know any of that.
Oh, didn't you?
No, when I see somebody, like my kinesiologist used to give me flower remedies, and then for anyone that was at the Positive Living group the other week, Antonella, she makes them for us as well. So that's about as much as I know. I'm like, here, take this, and we do. So that's really good to have that story. That's really interesting.
So they're all literally homeopathic. So they still use at the Bach Flower Centre, in Sotwell in Oxfordshire. They still use all the methods that Bach provide. He used to go out into the countryside. They're all native plants, trees, bushes, and he'd get the actual flower, leaf or bark, and it's soaked in spring water in direct sunlight for a few hours, and then that they call that the mother tincture, and then that's watered down, and then you get your stock bottle, and each one.
So are these ones cut with brandy or vodka? Or
these are all vegan. They're grapeseed alcohol or grape alcohol. I use that because
for anyone that can't see these, can we lift them up?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, they're heavier than I thought.
Oh no, there's quite heavy.
A whole thing here,
and so they're all vegan, alcohol free, because if it, not that I have treated it, but if anybody was like sensitive to alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I say that these wouldn't.
Okay, that's good because my
any
husband
harm
and I
in.
don't drink,
Ah, right.
and so you know
perfect.
it gives me heartburn when I use them. So that's good to know. Yeah, I didn't think I realised that.
Yeah, so you can
Oh.
get two types. Yeah, one of them's are steeped in, in prepared in brandy.
Yes,
But these
that's
are
what I've been
grapeseed
used
or
to
grape
using.
alcohol. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah, because you can taste the difference.
Yeah,
They are a lot stronger.
yeah,
And if you drop them in water, you can taste it.
yeah.
You can taste these, but they're a bit more subtle. So yeah.
Okay, but the magic's still in there.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I've been using these for 5 years, and I was introduced to, going to do a bit of selling here, the
Yes.
Rescue Remedy.
Yeah, we've all seen that, right?
That's so
Yeah.
popular. That
Yeah.
is a really good starter.
Yeah.
It's
You
got,
can literally buy that in Tesco and things,
yeah,
can't you? It's amazing
Tesco,
that it's become
Superdrug.
mainstream.
Oh yeah, it really is
Yeah.
mainstream.
Yeah.
And it's 5 remedies, and it's because I forget sometimes. So yeah, shock, mental and physical tension,
Mm-hmm.
panic or great fear, loss of emotional control,
Mm-hmm.
like if you got screaming or shouting or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're a bit detached or pre-fainting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good all-rounder.
Yeah.
Good to keep in your first aid kit. I take it on holiday with me all the time. I keep it with me quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I took some before doing this because I get a little bit nervous. And so yeah, if you're going to get into Bach Flower Remedies, I'd say the Rescue Remedy is the best
Good
starter. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can give this to children, animals, all these.
Yeah.
You can do, diagnose with children and animals and stuff like that. So
I want to come on to that, but before that, I want to know what's your story with Bach Flower Remedies.
Right, my story. Okay. I say Rescue Remedy, I started using that for quite some time. But then when my mum passed away she was sort of like 51, she was my age. I bottled down the grief for quite some time, and a friend of mine recommended Bach Flower Remedies. I said, oh yeah, I know the Rescue Remedy. But there was, she said, oh no, you can get individual ones. Anyway, I started looking into it, and there was one for like grief and things like that. So I started taking, I can't remember off the top of my head which one I took. And there was one for a lot of guilt because I didn't go and see my mum quite as often as I should. I felt like I wasn't supporting my dad as much as I should. And it's really weird. Pine is the one for guilt. I remember that one. And I started taking that for quite a few months. And the only way I can describe it, because they're so subtle, you don't recognize, you don't realize the change. Yeah. But when I think of the guilt, that it's like, when you feel of emotion, you think about it, remember it, and you can feel the emotions. Yeah. When I think about certain situations, it's like a flat plane. Yeah. There's no emotional no emotional attachment anymore, and that's how it works. Yeah. And I've used ones for other things as well, and I've got my husband into these as well. Yeah. And he Hornbeam on a Monday morning, the Monday morning blues. He went through a very busy period, and he used to dread like going into this project each day. And I started giving him Hornbeam. He dropped it in water and he'd just drink it in the morning. And he said the next day and that he didn't have all this anxiety and dread. And so he's sold on it now. He said, I've got this coming up, some other project. Can you give me another remedy?
What's in your first aid kit, right?
Exactly. It is like a first aid kit. It's amazing. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so back to children and animals.
Right. Okay. I say they're very safe for children and animals. Children and animals respond really well to homeopathic remedies and stuff. So, like with children, if you've got somebody or a child, because I say all these are attuned when you're picking Bach Flower Remedies, you need to take into consideration the personality, their emotional mindset, their temperament, their moods. So like if you've got a child that's quite timid and shy, Mimulus is really good for that. And if they've got anxiety as well, like going to school, Mimulus. If you've got some children that are very possessive and clingy to about their toys or their parent, Chicory. Explosive emotions, tantrums, Holly is a good one to take. And if you've got children that are a little bit like domineering, a bit of a bully, Vine as well. And again, these same with adults.
All of those for my children. Actually, we use them with our eldest daughter because she has a lot of challenges from early life trauma. And so, yeah, we've been using them with her. Yeah.
Brilliant, yeah, because that's the thing. If you've gone through a trauma from years ago, from your childhood, or whatever, like my mum's been gone 20 odd years or so now. It doesn't matter when the trauma was. You can take, especially the rescue remedy, which has got Star of Bethlehem, and that's for shock. And it can be shock from your childhood.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be present or active.
It doesn't have to be present, and it will work on all that emotional level. So with when you administer the Bach Flower Remedies, you usually put 2 drops of an individual remedy, or you can have a mix, and usually you put 2 drops of each in a bottle of water and make up one like remedy, a mixture of whatever you need. With animals, again, if you've got like a dog that barks aggressively, now you need to find out, why is that dog barking? Is it through fear? Like a fear. Yeah. So you give him Aspen, or is it
that
like
wasn't aspirin, by the
way? Yeah, Aspen, ASPEN. Yeah, the tree. Yeah. Again, if they're like some animals, they can get a bit sorry for themselves and they flop around. They give you the big puppy eyes. Give them Willow, because that's for feeling a bit droopy and a bit sorry for themselves. And again, 2 drops in their drinking water. I used to put, my cat was a nightmare going to the vet. And this is, again, rescue remedy comes in really handy if you're trying to take your cat or dog to the vet or animal. I used to put 2 drops on my cat's nose and she'd lick it off, and then it would help her calm down. And because she always knew if you put it in her water or her food, she just knew. Yeah. She's like, I'm going to the vet. She can't get it off her nose, can she? No. I think she's like sitting there licking her nose. My sister gives a rescue remedy to her dog. He hates having his nails clipped. So rescue remedy in his drinking water, and that helps him,
That's good to know.
Quite calm. And if there's any keen gardeners out there, if you're a keen gardener, you can use the remedies on plants as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Plants with plants. Look at
that. I know, amazing. So if you're transplanting a plant from one place to another, again, rescue remedy, 12 drops in a watering can. If they're looking a bit droopy, Willow.
So interestingly, we moved our willow tree. We've got a dwarf willow tree that we moved from our old house to our new house, and it went into shock. And so it was out for a whole season, and then it came back again the following year.
Yeah.
So I could have used...
If you'd use rescue remedy or willow or anything
willow
like
with willow.
Willow with willow, or Star of Bethlehem. Yes, it's... and I've got a little story which was quite... we talk about it now, me and my husband. Where we used to live, our first house, there was a bush that we shared with the neighbour. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. I used to give when I used to trim it back, give it rescue remedy. My side used to flower every summer. Hers didn't. Oh, she'd be like, why does yours always flower and mine doesn't? But there you go, because I looked after it.
Yeah.
Oh, so
new. So what's your favourite?
My favourite.
Would you have a favourite, or one that you use as a staple? Or all of them.
Yeah. I think my staple for me for myself is impatience. I'm an impatient person. So, and that's my remedy type. You can have a remedy type.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How'd you figure that out?
If you say, this is a very good book, it's Bach Flower Remedy Step by Step. And they tell you quite a lot of information in that. There is, Bach actually discovered there is a remedy type.
Okay.
So if you are somebody who's very opinionated and driven and tries to convert people, vervain is your remedy type. Me, I'm an impatient person. I get a bit agitated. I don't like, especially when I'm driving, if people are slow, I get a bit impatient. So impatience is actually helping me to calm. You know, I take it every day, actually.
So how do you assess that? Is it like through conversation, through
conversation,
questionnaire,
yeah.
through, you know?
Through a conversation,
yeah.
Literally in a consultation, I say to people, right, just tell me what's going on. How you're feeling? And that 9 times out of 10, if you just sit and listen, they will tell you everything. And then you just get key things like, oh, I was so anxious about this. So you'd think, okay, anxiety, mimulus, and you just make little notes. And
so would it be that you have a type always, or for the moment?
I think you have a type always. Yeah. Your temperament is I'm impatient. My husband, I give him beach because he's quite intolerant of people.
I'll take a pint of that,
please. So yeah, if you've got that type of personality, then because it's supposed to. There is I don't know if you mind me sharing. There's a story here. I need to put my glasses on, so I'll grab my glasses. This is a wonderful. If you're learning Bach Flower Remedies, this is a wonderful story that Bach created to help you learn the actual remedy types and all the other ones as well. And I just find it great. Where are we? So here we go. It's called The Story of the Travellers. Are you sitting comfortably? So, Jack and
bedtime story, lovely.
Yeah, exactly. Once upon a time, and it's always once upon a time, 16 travellers set out to journey through a forest. At first all went well, but after they had journeyed some distance, one of the number, agrimony, this is one of the Bach remedies, began to be worried as to whether they were on the right path. Later in the afternoon, as they went deeper into the shadows, Mimulus began to be afraid that they had lost the road. When the sun set and the shadows deepened and the noises of the forest were heard around them, Rockrose became full of terror and was in a state of panic. In the middle of the night, when all was blackness, Gorse lost all hope and said, I can go no further. You go along, but I shall stay here until death relieves my suffering. There's a little fly going there. Oak, on the other hand, though feeling all was lost and they would never again see the sunshine, said, I shall struggle on to the very last, and he did in a very wild way. Scalanthus had some hope, but at times he suffered from uncertainty and indecision, first wanting to take one road and almost at once another. Clematis plodded on quietly and patiently, and caring so little if he fell into the last sound sleep or whether he got out of the forest. Gentian at times much cheered the party, but others fell into a state of despondency and depression. Others of the travellers never feared that they would get through, and in their own way wanted so much to help their companions. Heather was very sure he knew the path and wanted all the company to take his way. Chicory had no concern about the end of the journey, but was full of solicitude as to whether his fellows were footsore or tired or had enough to eat. Sarah had not much confidence in his judgment and wanted to try every path to be sure they were not wrong. And meek little Century so wanted to lighten the burden that he was ready to carry everyone's baggage. Unfortunately for the little Century, he generally carried the burden of those most able to bear their own, because they called the loudest. Rockwater, all afire to help, a little depressed the party, because he would criticise what they were doing wrong, and yet Rockwater knew the way. Vervain should also have known the path very well, but although he had become a little confused, held forth at length as to the only way out of the wood. Impatience, too, well knew the pathway, so well that he was so impatient with those less speedy than himself that he went off home. Water Violet had travelled that way before and knew the right road, and yet was a little proud and little disdainful that the others did not know or understand. Water Violet thought them a little inferior, and in the end they all came through the forest. Now they go as guides to other travellers who have not made the journey before, and because they know there is a pathway through, and because they know the darkness of the forest is but the shadows of the night, they walk as gentlemen unafraid, and each of the 16 sojourners teach in their own way the lesson and the example needed. And this is the best bit. Agrimony strides along free of all care, and jests on everything. Mimulus can know no fear. Rockrose in the darkest moments is just a picture of calm, serene courage. Gorse in the blackest night tells them of the progress they will make when the sun rises in the morning. Oak stands steadfast in the strongest gale. Scleranthus walks with perfect certainty. The eyes of Clematis are fixed with joy on the journey's end, and no difficulties or setbacks can discourage Gentian. Heather has learnt that each traveller must walk his own way, and quietly strides in front to show it how it can be done. Chicory always waiting to lend a hand, but only when asked, and then so quietly. Serato knows all well the paths that lead to nowhere, and Century ever seeks the weakest who finds their burden heavy. Rockwater has forgotten to accuse, he just spends all the time encouraging. Vervain no longer preaches but silently points the way. Impatient knows no hurry but lingers amongst the hindmost to keep their pace. And Water Violet, like an angel than a man, passes through the company like a breath of warm wind and a ray of glorious sunshine, blessing everyone.
Oh, that's a nice story, wasn't
It's
it?
wonderful, isn't it? But it just shows you how each,
Each remedy,
each
flower,
remedy is attuned. So if you're too much of a personality, if you're, if you're like full on, like Vervain, and a bit disdainful, and, take Vervain and it will balance you up. It's all about balance.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. Thank you.
Yes, I hope you enjoyed that story.
Yeah. So if people want to have a Bach Flower consultation with you, what do they do?
They can contact me via my Facebook page, and I think I don't know it off the top of my head.
We can put in the comments on this. We can put your details, can't we?
Yeah,
your contact
just
details.
Message me, and yeah, I can contact you, and we can book a date. It's on a Saturday because I work full time, so Saturdays are best for me. So if you can do a Saturday at the LV Life Wellbeing Centre.
And also, we have our open weekend coming up, our open house weekend, and Sarah has one slot left available for a Bach Flower Remedy consultation by donation. So the other slots are booked, but she has one left available. I think off the top of my head it's 3 p.m. on Saturday the 9th.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can book that as well via the booking system, the website for the LV Life Wellbeing Centre, which is lukevoulgarakis.com. So we'll put all those details in the comments. Thank you so much.
Okay.
It's been a lovely and informative conversation. And like I say, I knew this much. Now I feel like I know a little bit more.
As a whole, it's a huge subject.
Yeah.
It's a lot more. But yeah.
Oh, well, thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.